This is a Brooklyn News special report.
And it's so good to be with you on this Wednesday afternoon, 12:36 p.m. as we come on the air as Vance at this hour is speaking in Pennsylvania on taxes. A little later, President Donald Trump set to sign bills at the White House. We're monitoring it all. Let's go first, though, to this event occurring over in West Pittston, Pennsylvania, where Vance is now speaking. Let's listen in here for just a moment.
A lot of them are. You told me you got projects coming in so fast, they're struggling to get people in to do all the jobs that are necessary. Well, now, thanks to President Trump's leadership, if you work overtime, the federal government is not going to take a dime of that overtime. You earn that money, you ought to keep it in your pocket. And while we're on that topic, why is it? You know, the big, beautiful bill was about taxes, it was about spending, it was about investing in America's future. But one of the most important things the president's doing and working on, it doesn't get nearly the headlines, is asking, why is it that we force every single young person to get a big chunk of debt at a four-year college or university? Why don't we give our young people more options? Because if we did, a lot of them would come and work at Don's machine shop. And that would be good for them, and it'd be good for American workers. You know, we think it's fine. If you want to go to college, go to college. There's a lot of opportunity out there. But if you want to work with your hands, if you want to build something, if you want to build a house, build a bridge, make one of these incredible orders that comes into this small business right here in northeastern Pennsylvania, your government should not be forcing you to do what elites in Washington want you to do. You ought to be able to chart your own course and your own career path, and the Trump administration is going to fight for that. But, you know, here are just some of the other things that we're doing with this one big, beautiful bill. You know that we are creating the biggest tax breaks maybe in American history for investing and building in the United States of America. So if you're a small business, if you're a medium-sized business, if you want to invest in American workers, we are going to make it so you pay less taxes. Invest in Americans and your government ought to reward you. Isn't that common sense? But the crazy thing is, for years, our government has done the exact opposite. We have rewarded people who shipped American jobs overseas and penalized the great small businesses who invested right here in America, right here at home. And the President Trump's leadership, we're flipping that on its head. If you're building here, if you're making here, if you're working in the United States of America, we just gave you a big, fat tax break. But if you're going to ship American jobs overseas, thanks to Donald Trump, you're going to pay a big, fat tariff. It's time to invest in our own country and our own people once again, and we're doing it. And here's the crazy thing. While we worked so hard without a single Democrat in Congress supported this legislation, we worked so hard to get this legislation passed, to cut your taxes, to prevent big tax increases, to make it easier to save and invest right here in this great country that all of us love. Would you believe that the Democrats, they are attacking us every single day? And you know what their big line of attack is? Their big line of attack is that Donald Trump dares to put tariffs on foreign countries who try to bring their crap into the United States of America. And that's interesting to me, because Democrats seem to like everything that increases taxes. If you've got a health care problem, they'll say, well, just raise taxes, right? Health care costs in this country, we're working on it. They're way too expensive. Democrats will say, we'll just raise taxes. We got not enough people working. Democrats will say, just raise taxes. That's their solution to every single problem. But you know, the one group of people in the entire world that they don't seem interested in penalizing, it's foreign countries that take advantage of this country, and that's got to stop. Part of part of the big, beautiful agenda is saying that if you're going to build something in the United States of America, we're going to reward you and we're going to fight for you. But if you want to build something overseas, you're going to pay a big fat tariff before you bring it back into the United States of America, and that's exactly how it should be. For the first time, really in my lifetime, I'm 40 years old, I turned 40.
Alrighty, so it looks as if we are having some technical difficulties with the feed. Our apologies. Unclear what has occurred there. It's still frozen to my knowledge as well. And I'm looking at other networks who are using a similar feed, and they are having the exact same problem. So we have lost that feed for just a moment. Our apologies, but we can talk. In the meantime, about some other news ongoing, we are expected to see uh, President Donald Trump signed bills a little later in the day. At about 2 p.m. Central Time is when we're expected to see that. That is when some bills will be signed. So at this point in time, still waiting on that to come. And when it does, we will take you there. Of course, it's only 12:42 p.m. So still an entire hour to go. We have yet to get our feedback from this event in West Pittston. I believe I'm saying that correctly there. So as we wait for that, President Donald Trump meeting with a few world leaders a little earlier in the day. Some news made there on a different front, not necessarily on the international front with that leader there, but rather on the front of the Fed chair, Jerome Powell, President Donald Trump, saying that he's at this one in time it is very unlikely for him to fire Jerome Powell, who leads the who is the Fed chair. Also on another front, we had this news on Jeffrey Epstein, President Donald Trump begging at this point in time, according to sources, Republicans to kind of quiet down the tone of this story. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, breaking with the president on this one, saying everything should be released. I believe President Donald Trump saying the Democrats have won on this one on Republicans, and that I don't remember what he called it. I remember him saying something about Democrats and about his MAGA supporters and what they believe there. So going after those in his party and his allies who believe that the information related to Jeffrey Epstein's death and things of that nature should be released. But then the FBI and the DOJ coming out and saying, hey, there's no such thing as a client list. Even though in a February interview with Fox News, DOJ, Department of Justice, I'm sorry, Attorney General Pam Bondi, saying that the client list was on her desk to be reviewed. So that's something there. We'll see how that goes. President Donald Trump sticking behind his Attorney General at this point in time, at least this far into all of this. I will note we have a story over at brooklynnews.com covering that all. We are still missing that feed. I believe we are also standing by for. Give me 1 second, you guys. For a Department of State briefing to occur. As soon as that happens, we will take you there. We are, yep, still waiting on that at this point in time. Kind of just watching a number of events this afternoon and kind of where things are to go. That's what we're going to be doing for the next little bit. We have still lost that feed with JD Vance, though, unfortunately. Let me see if there's a way I could refresh, maybe. Okay, so what it looks like we are going to do here. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm literally editing things at this moment in time. Let me do this here. Boom. So we are going to change feeds because we have lost our last one, but this is according to local news there. So I do have to put up a little description there saying that this is not our feed. So give me just a moment. What I'm gonna do here. Let's Oop, I forgot where it was from. Sorry. Hold up. Hold up. I'm really sorry. I'm trying. I want you guys to see this. So, and it is. Gotcha. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is not something that happens often where we have to change feeds of something we are watching midway through all of this. So give me a second. Because JD Vance is continuing to speak, so we are going to go to that. If you guys will just hang on here, we're going to it. We're gonna get it. I just have to. Okay. Okay, so let's go live back out where JD Vance is continuing to speak at this hour. Apologies, had a feed cut, but it is now back, so we are going to go back to it. Let's listen back into JD Vance as he continues to speak at this rally, sort of talking about taxes.
But I know a lot of us just celebrated, hopefully all of us celebrated the July 4th holiday, the independence of our country, 249 years of American independence. And of course, next year we will celebrate 250 years, a quarter of a millennium of having the greatest country in the history of the world. And that's an awesome thing. And I'm not sure, of course, what you all did on the July 4th holiday, but we were actually in North Dakota. And I was at Teddy Roosevelt National Park, or the soon-to-become Teddy Roosevelt National Library. They're still building it. And I had never been to North Dakota before, and I was there, of course, with Usha and with our 3 kids. And my little 3-year-old daughter, she brought me this dandelion. And she it was one of these dandelions where, her little 3-year-old lungs just couldn't blow these seeds all over this beautiful Badlands hills. And I'm looking out there, and I see the American flag, and I see these beautiful hills, and I help her out, and we see these dandelions floating over this beautiful American scenery. And I think to myself, my God, what a beautiful country we have. And how lucky it is that our forefathers gave us this land to carve out a new nation, and I think a new civilization. And what I realize is, in all of our jobs, whether you're working at Don's Machine, whether you're the Vice President of the United States, we're worried about the day-to-day. We're worried about the orders that come in. We're worried about clients that we've got to serve. We're worried about getting the big, beautiful bill passed and counting votes. That's what I was doing a lot the last few weeks. But I realized that it's all in the service of something. It's all in the service of giving our kids the incredible opportunities that we've had. It's in the service of watching a child's face light up when she sees America's beauty. And I saw it on her face and in her eyes for the first time, realizing what a beautiful landscape this was. It's about the cookouts. It's about seeing our kids grow up and learn something that they have a passion for. It's about believing that the next generation is going to have a better life than we had because we worked our tails off to give it to them. That's the American dream, my friends. That's what it's all about. When I think about what this administration has accomplished over the last 6 months, but more importantly, when I think about what all of us as one big American family have accomplished over the last 249 years, all I can think about is is it's time to keep building, it's time to keep working, and it's time to make sure that these beautiful faces, these beautiful kids that I see in this audience, that they're going to have a better life than we had. That is the promise of America, and we will never stop fighting to give it to the next generation. God bless you all. Thank you all for being here.
Alrighty, Vice President J.D. Vance speaking there. We lost the feed for a moment, but we have gotten it back. Thank goodness, to say the least here. As we continue to monitor the White House, where at, I believe it is 2 p.m. Central, we are going to see President Donald Trump hold an event there. Oh, my apologies. That feed has ended there. We are waiting for a Department of State briefing, though, as that is expected to come very soon. Lots of news that we are following this hour, again, at 2 p.m., when we are expected to see President Trump, speak from the, White House. But, again, Vice President J.D. Vance there on taxes. Talking about the big beautiful bill that President Trump signed on the 4th of July and kind of what that means and how successful that has been. Let me put some. So, we are also waiting for a Department of State briefing that will come very soon. Again, so much news we are following. A live look there at the White House. As again, we are waiting for a 2 p.m. Central Time moment when Trump will sign bills from the White House. What we are going to do here for just, if you guys will stand by with me, I'm going to change something really quickly, and we are going to do what we have done in the past few, or I should say yesterday's, live stream where we essentially had to take a quick break. And that is what we are going to do once again. We are going to sneak in kind of this quick little break here as we wait for multiple events to get underway, because we are also waiting for an event over at the Department of State where we are going to have a briefing. This is the feed we're getting in there from the Department of State starting soon. We will listen into that when it comes as well. So much news we're following at this hour. The news never stops, and neither do I. A quick break. We'll be right back with more news on this Brooklyn News special report. Everybody, welcome back to Brooklyn News Special Report. You are watching a live look on the right side of your screen as Secretary of Transportation Sean Duffy testifies in the House Oversight Committee over the transportation budget. So we are watching that. We are going to listen in live here as we await a number of different events, including this one right here, where we're waiting for a Department of State briefing and a 2 p.m. Central Time signing of bills from the White House. That's all coming up on this Brooklyn News Special Report. Let's go live over to the House of Representatives. Where's all on going? Let's listen in here.
New trade cons and centers. But once we have that, we need to have these air traffic controllers in place because as some are controlling the airspace, others have to be trained up on the new system. And so there is some complication as we do that. And then the switchover and how we do that's going to be incredibly important. But we have to get that new system ready to deploy. And that there's companies around the world, there's great companies in America. We have to find the best that's going to fit our airspace and then test it and then have it ready for deployment. That's going to be about $6 billion for that portion of it. A lot of the other money is going to come in the form of infrastructure around the towers, the centers, and the TRACONs. We also want a flow management system so we can better manage. When you leave the gate, you're going to take off and you're going to fly and you're going to land. Like a flow management system is going to be way better for efficiency in the airspace. And if you care about the green part of America, we use less fuel by this flow management system. A lot of tools that we still have to get from all of you.
Thank you for your leadership on that.
Thank you.
Next we have Ms. Pelt. You're recognized for 3 minutes. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As one of the two committee members from the great state of New Jersey, fixing the chaos at Newark Airport has been one of my top priorities. I agree with you, Mr. Secretary, that major investments are needed to bring our air traffic control system up to date. And I've called for at least $2 billion in emergency FAA funding to upgrade the technology and equipment. We must resolve the delays and the cancellations at Newark Airport. At the same time, we need to prevent the huge technology failures there from happening right at this very moment as they are happening everywhere elsewhere. Mr. Secretary, back in May, I sent a letter along with our ranking member Larson and my New Jersey colleagues asking the acting FAA administrator to explain the cause of the flight disruptions at Newark. Unfortunately, I have yet to receive any response, so I'm hoping that today you might be able to provide us with some clarity. Secretary Duffy, you recently announced that you've replaced the outdated copper connections at Newark Airport. How will you ensure that this prevents the new wire-related issues similar to what happened in Newark earlier this year?
So I can answer the question for you here.
Thank you.
The last administration moved the TRACON from N90 that was controlling Newark, they moved it to Philadelphia.
Yes.
They didn't test the lines, right? The new line should have been put in before that move was made. They didn't do it. They were seeing problems with that line. In the last administration, we saw it, you saw it all too well with the cancellations and delays in Newark in late April and May. We worked with our corporate partners. That line was laid by Verizon in 1 month.
Yeah.
And that went from Philly, by the way, Philly TRACON controls Newark, to N90 in New York, right? That was the problematic line. That's been laid, it's been tested, it's been activated. We are in the process of running the line now from N90 to Newark.
Yeah.
That has not been a problem line, but it is going to be upgraded with new fiber.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Let me just say, I know that I only have 30 seconds left, so I know that we're very short in time. I've been concerned by this administration's repeatedly withholding funding for vital programs and projects. I was dismayed when the administration slashed over 1/3 of the funding for the 90-year-old dock bridge that has more than 700 trains a day. how many other projects will the department be looking to gut? How is it possible to cut more than 1/3 of the project costs and claim that the same outcome is still possible? Mr. Chairman, I'd be happy if time is permitted to give the Secretary an opportunity to answer. If not, I will yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just real quick, I'll take a look at that. We haven't slashed funding, and again, that's a common theme I keep hearing. But again, you can't blame me when I've been given so much work. And again, I'll show you the charts. We're getting more grants out the door than the prior administration was in their first quarters of every single year. And so there have been some, like UTCs, that we've canceled. There's been some bad money, but roads and bridges, we have not canceled. It's taken some time to get money out the door, but you got announcements, but the real work is putting the grant agreements together. And that takes the time. So it's fun for the last administration to have balloons and kazoos and announce things, but not doing the work. We're actually doing the work to get your money out the door, and you're all complaining, but the complaint shouldn't be with me. It should have been with the last administration. You have 400 projects from 2022.
So I wasn't here at the last session. Let me just say I appreciate what you're saying, but here's what I'm trying to point out, Mr. Secretary, that 1/3 of the funding for the 90-year-old
Your
dock
time has
bridge
expired.
has been impacted. Thank you.
Thank you. Please understand you can submit questions in writing to the Secretary.
Yes.
Mr. Barrett, you're recognized for your 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Secretary, thank you again for being here. I mentioned to you on our way in that my mom and dad had a little opportunity to spend some time with your wife in Michigan, and they were really appreciative of that. So please extend our thanks to your wife on behalf of our family, too. So thank you for that. Wanted to ask you about, I think as you acknowledged in your opening remarks, your first day in office, that we had this tragic collision here over the airspace in Washington, D.C., and that military aircraft that collided with the American Airlines flight. I've actually introduced a bill that would begin the process of adding the collision avoidance system that our civilian aircraft have and apply that to our military rotary wing aircraft that, generally speaking, do not carry that on board. I flew the same Black Hawk helicopters that had that tragic collision over the airspace just a few miles from here. I'm curious if you have any thoughts on, some of the interoperability of these systems like TCAS, like ADSB, that may have prevented this accident from happening. Obviously, there was a whole chain of circumstances that led to that collision and failures at different levels, but I'm curious on your thoughts about some of these pilot-assisted systems like TCAS or ADSB and what they might have done to prevent it.
So I'm grateful that you're all focusing on this. Again, I think the rules were too loose. And again, if there's military missions, 100%, we want to make sure that you can fly without notice, right? We don't want TCAS, we don't want other systems at play. But if you're flying a mission, if you're moving VIPs from the Pentagon, we should all see the space.
Yes.
And I would welcome the opportunity to work with you. And by the way, if we're going to fly, I get that we have to fly missions in D.C. This is a critical place in America. But you also don't have to fly those missions at 6 o'clock at night. You could fly them at 2 o'clock in the morning. Let's train at different times when there's far less traffic in our airspace. Really smarter.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I appreciate your effort to really restrict the airspace for those types of flights when we have civilian air traffic as congested as it is that would potentially lead to that interference. I know that as soon as that military unit restored operations, there was a near miss of only a couple hundred feet, and that, I know, animated your reaction. Can you tell us what, I guess, where you've been at with the Secretary of Defense or with the other agencies responsible for that, in that we can be assured that there is that deconfliction going on right now?
The Secretary of Defense has been incredibly cooperative. He's an old friend of mine and my family's. He's working with us. He understands what we're trying to accomplish. At some point, if we can figure this out, he has interests and equities that I want to be considerate of, but I have to be focused on my priority, which is safety. And he understands that, and we've had a lot of different conversations, me with him, but also our teams.
Great. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Ms. Gillen, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Secretary, for spending time with us today. So I don't have a lot of time. I have 3 items, 3 minutes that I have to talk about, 3 items that I'd love to work with your office to get done for my district and the American people. The first thing is road safety. My district on Long Island in New York has a serious car accident every 7 minutes. It's unacceptable, and this is part of a nationwide trend with dangerous roads. I wrote to your office in March and asked you to help focus on solving this problem. I appreciated your prompt response and your pointing to the road, Safer Roads for All program that you have. And now folks in my district, the largest village in New York State, the village of Hempstead, are trying to become part of that program to make sure that they can have safer roads in Hempstead, where they have the most dangerous intersection on Long Island, which is right by a church and right by a school. So my quick question is, will you commit to continue working with my office to make sure that we can have what could be a pilot program, not only for Long Island, but for the rest of our country?
100%.
Thank you. All right, number two. Number two is a key step that we can do to make our roads safer is getting impaired and drunk drivers off the road. In 2021, Congress passed the Halt Drunk Driving Law, which was a bipartisan piece of legislation requiring all new vehicles to be equipped with advanced anti-drunk driving technology that could save almost 10,000 lives a year. However, the prior administration failed to implement the law, and the National Highway Traffic Safety Association still has not issued the critical rule in more than 4 years since the bill has passed. I believe together we can all save lives that should not be wasted and not be lost for senseless drunk driving accidents. Will your office work with this body and my office to make sure that we start to implement that law?
Yeah, and I had a lot of conversations with Senator Ben Ray Lujan, who's been a leader in this as well. Again, we want to make sure the technology is right. I look forward to working with you. And it is drunk driving, 100%, but it's these. These have been distracting everybody, and it's almost like drunk driving because people aren't paying attention, and it's becoming a huge issue.
Distracted driving is, of course, a huge issue, but one of the worst drunk driving accidents that ever happened in New York happened on Long Island, where a 5-year-old flower girl in a limousine was killed in a gruesome manner by a man who could barely even stand and walk out of the bar. So we need to, she shouldn't be dead. We can fix this. Thank you. And the last thing, I only have 28 seconds, we talked about a little bit before the hearing. I actually beat Congressman Mast to requesting that you come to my district to visit TRACON N90, which is the air traffic control space that controls some of the busiest skies in the country. And I believe you agreed to come. I look forward to working with you and welcoming you to the New York's 4th Congressional District, and I appreciate your commitment to making our skies safe.
The busiest, yes. Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Mr. Begich, you're recognized for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Secretary Duffy, in 2021, the FAA issued the FAA Alaska Aviation Safety Initiative, or FASI, final report to ensure the FAA is engaging with Alaskan stakeholders and ultimately addressing the state's safety needs, including those around outdated and altogether absent critical infrastructure. In last year's FAA reauthorization bill, Congress bolstered FASI and renamed it after the late Don Young, whose portrait hangs on these walls. The point remains that the FAA needs to maintain and enhance their efforts to increase aviation safety in my state. I was very pleased when earlier this year you and the FAA announced a $25 million investment in this initiative. On top of the $25 million, this majority allocated even more funding for essential safety equipment through the One Big Beautiful Bill, including another $40 million for the Don Young Alaska Aviation Safety Initiative and $80 million for the weather system improvements. Can you talk about your thoughts regarding the importance of aviation safety in the state of Alaska, and will you commit to ensuring the FAA will use this funding in a timely manner to improve the availability and reliability of aviation safety in Alaska?
I don't mean to be offensive, but sometimes people forget Alaska and the aviation accidents that happen there, way too many. That is, you're not going to be forgotten in this administration. As you can tell, we have paid attention to Alaska and the safety needs and concerns that you have. And I'm going to continue to work with you and your Senate delegation to make sure we're doing right by your state. By the way, I'm going to come up in early August. I was strictly committed to making sure I make that trip in the first year, so I might actually fish for it.
Excellent. We're looking forward to hosting you in Alaska. It's a big place, as you know, and we have a lot of unique challenges. I know there's a lot of other unique parts of the United States, but Alaska truly is unique and special in that respect.
I think your point is well made. We don't have, if you want to build roads for us, that's great, but if you're not, we need air travel that's going to work.
Alrighty, I want to
100%.
break in here because the Secretary of State briefing has just gotten underway. So I do, of course, want to go live to Washington, D.C., where that's all ongoing. Let's listen in to Tammy Bruce, the Secretary of the State spokesperson at this briefing here.
2 months after President Trump traveled to the Middle East, countries are still coming to us to build off the momentum that his trip generated. Bahrain's Crown Prince is visiting Washington today, as many of you would have noticed, where he announced Bahrain's intention to invest over $17 billion, that's with a B, in the United States. The deal constitutes a major U.S. commercial win that could support up to 30,000 American jobs. Regarding the situation in Syria, we heard the Secretary of State during today's meeting in the Oval Office, quote, "It's complicated. Obviously, these are historic long-term rivalries between different groups in the southwest of Syria, Bedouins, the Druze community, and it led to an unfortunate situation and a misunderstanding, it looks like, between the Israeli side and the Syrian side. So we've been engaged with them all morning long and all night long and with both sides, and we think we're on our way towards a real de-escalation and then hopefully get back on track in helping Syria build a country and having a situation there in the Middle East that is far more stable. So in the next few hours, we hope to see some real progress to end what you've been seeing over the last few hours." Turning to our transatlantic partnerships, Secretary Rubio met yesterday with Italian Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani to coordinate next steps on the Israeli-Iran ceasefire, reaffirm our joint resolve on Ukraine, and address shared challenges posed by China and developments in Latin America. In the Western Hemisphere, Deputy Secretary Christopher Landau met Monday with Haitian Prime Minister Phil Amé to discuss the urgent need to restore security, stability, and constitutional order in Haiti. He underscored continued U.S. support for the multinational security support mission. Looking to the Indo-Pacific, President Trump has announced the composition of the presidential delegation that is traveling to the World Expo in Osaka, Japan on U.S. National Day, which is tomorrow, Thursday, July 19th, 2025. The delegation is led by Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent and includes Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Landau, a busy man. Since the expo opened on April 13th, nearly 1 million guests have visited the USA Pavilion, and we expect over 2 million visitors over the duration of the expo. The USA Pavilion serves a unique convening place for American companies to connect with potential customers and drive American prosperity. This event, along with our recent engagements with the Quad and ASEAN, reaffirms that U.S. leadership in the Indo-Pacific is enduring, strategic, and producing real results. So that is my opening here on this Wednesday. I will now happily, most of the time, take your questions. Daphne.
Thank you. Just to follow up on what the Secretary said earlier on Syria,
Yes.
What is it that the U.S. is hoping to see in the next few hours?
Well, certainly an end to the conflict, an end to the nature of the violence that is happening, an Israeli withdrawal, a Syrian government withdrawal from the area as well.
And has the U.S. asked Israel to halt strikes on Syria?
I cannot speak to specific conversations or the exchanges diplomatically, but I can say that, let me see, there's a few things that might give us a sense here of what's happening. We are calling on the Syrian government to, in fact, withdraw their military in order to enable all sides to de-escalate and find a path forward. And I think that that's obviously the goal because of the nature of what's happened and the Secretary's phrasing that this was a misunderstanding. He's optimistic that this can be achieved.
So you said you're looking for an Israeli withdrawal and a Syrian government withdrawal from the area. Can you be more explicit about where
I can't. I can't. All right. All right. Yes, Jillian.
So given
what you just laid out, seems like it's safe to say that there is daylight between the president and Secretary Rubio and the Israelis?
Well, I wouldn't say that at all, no. But very good try. No, I think that there's, I think it's very specific what we've been asking. We've been obviously speaking with all the parties involved. We are involved and we know the parties involved. And the president and the secretary have noted that they expect de-escalation as soon as possible, that this was classically a misunderstanding between Israel and Syria, and long-term tribal issues also in the area. But our best are on it, and that includes, of course, the leaders of the country.
Can you comment on the food aid that is set to expire, the 500 million billion tons or whatever it is that is set to expire, that was slated to head to help stave off, I guess, starvation in Afghanistan and Pakistan?
What I can say without the particular specifics is that we have a kind of a standard procedure that if food is expired, it will be destroyed. So let's get more information on that. I know that there was a conversation about the nature of food and whether or not if it is expired, and if that's the kind, we know we take action with that when it comes to the procedure. So we'll get an answer back for you on that. All right, yes, sir.
Yes, hi, thanks, Tammy. Just back on Syria, could you give us a sense of whom the Secretary has reached out to, both on the Syrian side and on the Israeli side?
No,
and,
sorry, just a quick answer, no.
All right. And second, could you give us some clarity as to what he meant exactly by a misunderstanding between Israel and Syria? I mean, I know he said it was complicated, so
yes, it's complicated.
A short answer, but
well, yes,
what did he mean by
I won't characterize his statement or remarks. I would expect more comments to come from the president, perhaps, and certainly the secretary. They are, again, have been, as we have in general, involved in de-escalating this, which is the key. But within his experience, he felt that that word was appropriate. Yes. All right. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
That's where Nadia should be sitting, though. I believe you better tell her. What's your name, sir?
Joseph.
Joseph, hi there. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I wanted to ask on Gaza if you have any updates to provide on ceasefire talks or progress on that.
Yes, we do. There's still negotiations. I'm not going to get into the details of what those are. And of course, last week, you'll recall that Secretary Rubio said that we are hopeful. He says, I mean, in the end, we're hoping they'll move to proximity talks. So obviously, it's a negotiating process that is underway and ongoing. He said, it appears that generally the terms have been agreed to, but obviously now you need to have talks about how to implement those terms. He noted, I should say now President Trump has noted, that we want to have a ceasefire. He's noted that many times. We have to have peace. We want to get the hostages back, and warned Hamas that it will only get worse if they don't agree to this arrangement. Right.
And then on Lebanon, Ambassador Barak was recently there and receiving a response to proposals or roadmaps for that country to disarm Hezbollah and implement certain reforms. Can you talk about any of the, I don't know what you want to call them, demands or asks that he made of the Lebanese government, specifically as it pertains to Hezbollah's weapons? Was there a timeline given? Has he warned that U.S. support could be withdrawn or reduced if the Lebanese government doesn't make any progress?
Well, as you'll learn, if we'll see you hopefully on occasion here, is that I won't speak about the nature of the specifics of what happens in a negotiation, what is asked for, what those conversations are. We do know, of course, that the ambassador, and as of course our special envoy also, has been very open about the fact that, and this was last week, that he was happy with the nature of the conversations and the commitment to disarm Hezbollah. I can also note on the same sort of issue when it comes to money that supports Hezbollah. The Ambassador Barak stated that stopping the flow of Hezbollah's finances including through Al-Qard al-Hassan, is a USA priority. We welcome Lebanon's recent efforts in that regard as well, as a step in the right direction, but more needs to be done. The Lebanese government must abandon the pretense that Al-Qard al-Hassan is an NGO under Lebanese law rather than what it is, which is a financial institution used by Hezbollah to subvert international sanctions regimes and undermine Lebanon's formal economy. So I can have that for you. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Tell me, there's a Qatari delegation.
We'll take your question, but then I'll come right back to you. Go ahead, sir.
Okay.
I know you're like really close to each other. All right, go ahead.
There's a Qatari delegation visiting the White House tomorrow. And is the Secretary going to be holding separate talks with members of the delegation? And also, what role do you think the Qataris can play in helping secure a ceasefire?
Well, I won't discuss what the Secretary's plans are at this point or who he'll be meeting with. We do know, of course, Qatar has been helpful in the past as a partner, but I won't go into the details of what we can expect in that regard. All right? And now, yes, sir.
The administration has done a lot of work with the new government in Syria to try and nurture relations, to try and embed stability there, lifting sanctions and delisting HTS and things like that. How did these Israeli strikes, which seem to amount to very sharp escalation, extremely dramatic and devastating pictures, particularly from Damascus, of the impact of the bombings, how does that affect your attempts to build that relationship with the new Syrian government?
Well, of course, we know, and we've made a tremendous commitment there to stabilize Syria, and our special envoy, Ambassador Barak, is leading that. And of course, we know of that escalation. Clearly, we've been involved in addressing it. And I think that what is clear still comes from the Secretary's remarks regarding the issue of it being a miscommunication, essentially, and I think that's significantly different than an escalation. But I would wait for us to hear from the Secretary and the President as today unfolds. But neither of them had indicated that this seemed to be a dynamic that indicated something that could not be resolved. Their comments certainly indicated that they expected it to be and hoped it to be, and indicated even, again, for within the next few hours could be facilitated. Also about that, though, we do understand that the Israeli forces intervened to protect the Druze. So that is something we can confirm to you. But obviously, I think the comments of the Secretary speak for themselves. One more. Yes.
Just on one other issue is the ambassador, Mike Huckabee, the ambassador to Israel, appeared in the court hearing for Prime Minister Netanyahu's corruption trial today. I'm just trying to understand what part of the U.S. national interest is served by doing that.
Well, we obviously support Israel. They are an ally and a partner. I won't characterize, as I don't anyone, their position or the actions they might take, but it would appear that the ambassador was exhibiting his support for Netanyahu.
But against the judicial system, I mean, is this an expression of distrust?
Well, I don't. I know that our inclination sometimes is to look into like the broader issues that we're all working on, but I would not suggest that someone attending to support someone facing a situation as some kind of a larger commentary about a judicial system or a country or anything beyond showing support for someone that they know or a friend. Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. On the Syria, the Secretary obviously said that he had been in discussions all morning and night. Were you given advance warning that Israel was going to strike Damascus?
Not that I'm aware of. I think that the reaction of the President and Secretary of State indicate that we're reacting as we should when it comes to seeing something that was unexpected and could be resolved. And then their comments today indicated that that was the response and what they expect to have happen, which they've obviously conveyed to the parties involved.
And then just quickly, back to Ambassador Huckabee. Yesterday he issued quite a stern tweet calling the killing of a young American in the West Bank a terrorist act. Is that a reflection of a broader State Department viewpoint that the killing of Saif Musab
Well,
was a terrorist
again,
act?
and welcome back, by the way. So it
you.
says thank you. I'm, again, not going to characterize anyone's comments. I think that we've been clear. I can, of course, expand a little bit on our position in this regard. One thing, of course, we do repeat, and it's important, as the Secretary has also repeated, is that Ambassador Huckabee has asked Israeli authorities to aggressively investigate this case. And we refer you to the government of Israel for additional details related to that investigation. Because of the nature of the world these days, I say very often that we have no higher priority than the safety and security of U.S. citizens. It's a reminder to everyone watching at home, the role of the State Department and why we work as hard as we do. We can confirm the death of a U.S. citizen, Saif Musab, in the West Bank on July 11th. We offer condolences to the family on their loss and are providing consular assistance to them. We are greatly concerned when any U.S. citizen is harmed overseas, wherever that may be. The United States calls for accountability in all cases where U.S. citizens are harmed abroad. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Secretary Rubio has taken a lot of ownership of, if not pride, in the reorganization of the State Department, which, as you well know, resulted in the layoffs of over 1,300 employees last week. Do you know, does the Secretary plan to address the workforce directly about this?
What I can tell you is that without forecasting his actions or any remarks, is that the Secretary, as you all know, is very vocal and likes people and engages with them as often as he can. He cares very much about this department and to the point where, look, he undertook something that others had talked about or wished could be done, but just didn't. It was important enough for him so that the people who are here could have a work experience and the result of the products they produce and the passion they have for the work, that it could actually be efficient, that it could get things done within an amount of time that makes it relevant. So it's his phrase is at the speed of relevancy. So I would, he speaks to many of us a lot, all the time, and I would expect, of course, that to be the case. He's been busy, as we all know, but he's certainly engaged in this regard and is up to date constantly on the nature of where things stand.
But just respectfully, I mean, it's the department he oversees,
Sure,
right?
Of course
he
he
drove
will.
a lot of this
course.
process, and I think that we've reported and
Well, I
Congress
think
has
that what
heard from
I
the
think to
layoffs.
not don't move too far ahead of the fact that I'm not going to state when or how or whether he will. What I've said is that he speaks to us all the time. He loves the department, obviously. This is his home, and I think that on this issue and many others, the people who run this department, who make this department relevant and possible, all of us, whether we be political people or career people or foreign service officers, will hear from him, of course.
Can I ask on Russia as well? Or you mentioned the arrangement that the president laid out on Monday that the U.S. sell advanced weapons to NATO members who can then pass them on to Ukraine. How many, if any, members of NATO have committed to that arrangement so
Well,
far?
I didn't say exactly that. What we said was that this would involve NATO, and of course they would have the ability to then move them to other countries. So I think that's a specific difference. And I will not discuss certainly whatever we may or may not have negotiated or diplomatic discussions, and certainly far from being able to discuss what NATO leadership may be talking about.
Okay, one last question just on the 50-day timeline now for Russia. Have you gotten any indication from your Russian counterparts that there's an interest in a diplomatic solution?
I would say that referring back to President Trump's remarks probably gives us the most immediate sense of whether or not he views things as being positive or if he's happy with what Vladimir Putin has been doing. And of course, we've heard from him that he's not happy, is how I'll characterize it, that he's not impressed with the nature of how things have moved forward. And that's what we rely on. We hear, because he's a transparent man, the nature of his attitude about conversations and his assessment as the leader of the free world, of the entire world effectively, that he's not happy. And I think his current actions of taking a path in order to provide Ukraine with more defensive weapons is an indication of that. But I've said before that while he is a diplomat and is forever optimistic about diplomacy, he's also a realist. And the world has seen, as Iran has seen, and now with these new actions by the president, that Russia is seeing, that he's a patient man, but not at the expense of his vision and making that happen. All right, yes.
Tammy, following up on the American killed in the West Bank, are there any circumstances in which the U.S. would open its own independent investigation into his murder?
Well, first of all, we again know that Israel is investigating. We've urged them to do an investigation aggressively and to finalize that investigation so that we all know what has occurred. I'm not going to speculate on what may or may not happen once that investigation is complete, but we need to wait and let them do that and find out what they ascertain.
And then one on the reorg, there's been some criticism that these cuts and these changes actually run counter to the administration's priorities of making America safer, stronger, more prosperous. What do you say to those?
Obviously, that's wrong. That's wrong. We've done these things because it's not just having the vision, but knowing how we need to have that vision implemented. I've said from the very start, and I understand why it comes back. This idea that an existing structure that's large is the only thing that will work, or it's large because it does work. The opposite was true. It became large and began to lose its way and became ineffectual. Bureaucratically, it's such a largesse there that things really couldn't get done. Not the fault of the people who were in those seats, but the structure itself. So you can look at a giant building that can't get anything done because of bureaucracy and the number of offices and the duplications, and it was not working. To cut something down, to have fewer people, to have fewer offices is not necessarily, and certainly in this case at all, true. That means that certain things are going to stop, or certain things aren't going to be functioning as well. Fact of the matter is, they will function better. That we will be able to serve the American people, get our mission done, implement our vision, because it's functional. So let's not mistake size and bulk for the appropriate methodology. You've got a nimble, effective organization that is what we need in order to get things done. Because of the 21st century, you learn about things now. If something happens as we did, let's say with Syria, something happens in Syria right this minute, in 2 to 5 minutes, all of you are going to hear about it on some platform or through some wire service, many of which you will be working for, and it'll be your colleagues. But we will hear about something in the other hemisphere within minutes of it happening. And then we don't have weeks or months to determine what our reaction will be. We also need to have a space where we can act when he says the speed of relevancy, the Secretary is talking about acting in a world where news and information and reality comes to us almost immediately, and we need to act accordingly. So those who say that this is going to harm the agenda of keeping America safe and strong, that isn't just now. That's the agenda of the American people. We've always wanted that. The American government, by becoming too big, has abandoned us in some fashion in that regard, and we've seen the suffering of the American people throughout generations. This makes it better, makes us safer, makes us stronger. And we will see that because it is fast. You will see that being implemented. Syria. Yes, sir, in the back, right there.
Thank you so much, Tammy. Two questions, one on Iraq and the other one on Syria. So recently, the drone attacks has increased on the Kurdistan region, particularly on the U.S. firms, the oil fields operated by the U.S. firms, including an attack that happened today, which the U.S. firms have announced a suspension of oil production. I was wondering the U.S. comment and reaction to these attacks, and the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad said that this is not acceptable. What do you mean by this is not acceptable? Are you going to take any actions against those groups who attack these oil fields?
Well, we have been vocal regarding actions that have happened with Iraq and the Kurdistan region. We've made it clear that we expect Iraq to withdraw certain dynamics that they apply to the Kurds when it comes to issues of salaries and oil distribution, et cetera. And of course, these kinds of attacks in the Kurdistan region of Iraq are unacceptable. We've expressed our dismay and our problem with them, and that's what I can report to you at this point. All right. One more.
One more. On Syria, you said that you confirmed that Israel intervened to protect the rights of Jews in Syria.
Well, I said they were to protect the Druze. I did not say the rights of, but yes, that's what we understand is what Israel was doing. Yes.
So I'm going to ask a question
Yes, all
about
right.
the U.S. view on that. So, do you think the absence of the comprehensive political solution in Syria, one that safeguards the rights of minority groups like Kurds and Druze, has impacted the situation like that? We've heard Ambassador Barak said that the U.S. does not support federalism in Syria. So how should the minority groups like Kurds and Druze feel safe to integrate within a government which they go and insult their dignity?
Well, obviously, this has been very fast-moving. It's been made very clear there through our support with Ambassador Barak what our intentions are. We've understood that the results have to be, you can put your hand down, sir, thank you, that the results have to be described. People there in Syria have to see results, especially regarding the infrastructure. At the same time, this is a new fluid dynamic. And this is where I think when we talk about misunderstandings, how the communication between friends, new neighbors, partners, we have to be able to act quickly if there is a misunderstanding, if certain situations occur. And this is what is very impressive here about what I've been watching over the hours while this unfolded, is the immediate involvement of the president himself, of the Secretary of State, in public, discussing it, having statements be up, making it clear to as much as they can what their commitment is to this situation, to de-escalate. What is the position of the United States? That's what when we talk about being at the speed of relevancy. That is what can matter in this situation in a region that has been in a very tough spot for a very long time. The president has discussed this. So I think that the Syrians, the people there, the Israelis, the Syrian government, the region, know now that people are home here, that the United States is engaged, that we are involved in a committed way, that President Trump cares about each aspect. And certainly, of course, we've heard from the Special Envoy Barak, in addition to the nation's leadership. That in and of itself we think is important, in addition to the results that will come with the diplomacy that we've exhibited over certainly the beginning of this term. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Madam Bruce. My name is Ahmad Shado. I'm a journalist from Azerbaijan, and I have two questions.
Nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you, sir. First question, last week, Syria's transitional president, Ahmad al-Sharon, visited Azerbaijan and met with President Ilham Aliyev, and they signed new agreements on post-war reconstruction process in Syria, energy cooperation, including potential natural gas from Azerbaijan to Syria. And this visit came shortly after the U.S. Decided to temporarily ease several sanctions on Syria to allow humanitarian aid and reconstruction efforts. But some Iranian media outlets sharply criticized this visit of Ahmad al-Sharan to Baku and warning that the cooperation between Azerbaijan and Syria threatens Iran's regional influence. How does the U.S. State Department assess the growing cooperation between Azerbaijan and Syria? What does Washington have concern about how this might affect regional dynamics in Middle East?
All right. Well, there's many things I heard there, and I would like us to.
Alrighty, so we have been listening in there to Tammy Bruce holding the Department of State briefing, answering a number of questions on the international front. Little news made there. We are going to talk about that and the number of events we are watching here at this hour right now. Take a look. That's all three of the events that we are able to look at this hour. We have Secretary Duffy testifying over the transportation budget. It appears that may still be ongoing, maybe possibly coming to an end. Can't really tell. The Department of State briefing, which we've been watching throughout the last 30 minutes or so. Yep, and that Secretary Duff testified now over his budget has just adjourned. We're also watching the Senate as they take on a vote on $9 billion worth of cuts to PBS and NPR. We're watching that them consider that as it all occurs. So I do want to make sure everyone's able to watch the entire briefing here by Tammy Bruce. So we are going to listen back in here for just a moment. Just wanted to kind of catch everybody up, wrap everybody up, all the news we're following this hour because there is so much. Plus, we have this event at 2 p.m. Central. We're watching for President Trump to sign a number of bills. Let me actually check where that's going to be at. Let me. So, what is today? July 16th? Sorry, guys. Checking the schedule out. There we go. Wednesday, July 16th. That is going to be in the East Room, is where President Trump is expected to sign these bills. I didn't know if it was going to be possibly in the Oval Office, how it is at points sometimes. So, lots of news we are watching this hour. Let's go back out live to this Tammy Bruce holding this Department of State briefing. Let's listen back in here.
Reported a troubling pattern of unknown actors circulating false messages about GHF aid site openings, which contributes to incidents like the deaths on July 16th. GHF is committed, obviously being transparent, is to be commended for that, about this incident, which also resulted in the injury of an American GHF employee. And we refer you to GHF for more information. All right. Yes. Did you have a question, Matt Lee? Okay.
You just read a GHF statement.
Yes, I did.
What's the State
Yes, I
Department's
did.
view?
Well, I read statements from a number of places and situations that are involved in the dynamic of what it is that's being asked about. For more information, I then refer you also. I refer you to groups. I've referred you to GHF multiple times. So if it's a group that's involved in something that's made a statement, it's worth hearing. Right. How you handle that statement is up to you. I did not say how you should report on that or what you would ask next.
But does that mean that the State Department doesn't really have anything?
It means that I've read a statement, Matt Lee. I've read a statement about a group that was being asked about, and they made a statement, and I shared it with everyone here. Jillian, did you have something? No. All right, and we'll go right here.
Thanks, Tammy. Two
Yes, sir.
questions for you. Number one on Syria. As Tom mentioned earlier, it's an immense amount of political capital that's been involved in propping up al-Sharaa and giving the government legitimacy.
I would move you off the phrase propped up. This is an active group of people. We are active, serious people trying to make this situation work. Propping up, I would just wave you off that phrase.
Duly noted.
I think supporting and being vocal about that and helping, sure.
One of the commitments given in return was the protection of the minority communities there. This is now the second massacre of minorities, first the Alawites, now the Druze. What is the message being sent to the Syrian government in terms of their own commitments?
Well, this is essentially alluded to before when we discussed this, is that part of the problem in the beginning of something like this that has been dealing with a whole host of horrible situations for generations, a new situation, a situation that's fluid, also in a region that has been in constant trouble with constant tribal issues, long-standing tribal issues, where there is a chance to change an environment. And the reaction to the things that will occur, we never expect in any dynamic, including this situation or other dynamics that we're dealing with in the Middle East or elsewhere, where because we have an idea or something new is being implemented or that we're present and that we're working on something, it doesn't mean it's going to be a utopia immediately. you have to recognize that these are things that might occur, be prepared to address them if and when they do, and after the fact, find out, yes, what occurred, what needs to change. I know, of course, that it's not just about stopping an event or dealing with things in a static manner, but each dynamic moves us along in finding out what the challenges are and how to fix that. And that is clearly going to be the case here with this situation.
With the death of the American, real quick.
One more.
Very quickly, with the death of the American in Judea and Samaria, President Trump and Secretary Rubio were discussing it with the media earlier today. The president looked at the secretary. He mentioned something about a meeting about it tomorrow. The White House press office is looking into it for me. They didn't quite understand either. Is there a meeting going on tomorrow about that
Well, my
situation?
goodness, I love the faith you have in me. No, if
I
this
have
is,
tremendous faith
I
in
do,
you.
I love it. Which is a very exciting time to be doing this kind of job, and also when it comes to a president like President Trump, and our discussions about the speed with which things happen all the time. This is one of those cases. Decisions are made in the moment with the President of the United States. I wasn't there. I'm with the State Department. So obviously, I would say the White House will have answers for you. We'll be able to answer your questions. And I certainly won't speculate on what that means. But what I can tell you is when the president and others in the White House say something's going to happen, it does. All right, yes, in the back, some people have not had a chance. Let's go to but with the glasses, let's keep going here.
Thank you. After the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, India is now releasing threatening statements and has blocked water supply to millions of Pakistani by suspending Indus Water Treaty. Pakistan says it considers it as an act of war, as more than 240 million Pakistanis rely on the supply of this water for agriculture and basic needs. So what are your comments on this?
Well, yes, that's specifically, I have nothing for you regarding that particular dynamic, but let's see what we can find, and we will get it back to him. We'll have one more with someone who has not already had a bite at the apple in the glasses, sir, at the end of the row. Yes. Terrific.
The U.S. before carrying out bombing raids in the region?
Well, I can't speak to any arrangements we have regarding certainly what the DOD might be addressing or dealing with, or diplomatic arrangements we've made or agreements we have with another country regarding or not regarding military engagement. So that's not something I can answer for you.
One quick follow-up. Relating to British relations, the State Department revoked the visa of British rapper Bob Vylan after he
I'm sorry, with that, say the name again, sir, I'm sorry.
Bob Vylan.
Yes, of course.
After he chanted death to the IDF at Glastonbury. An Irish rap group called Kneecap is facing terror charges in the UK for shouting up Hamas, up Hezbollah during a concert while draped in a Hamas flag. The group has a US tour planned for this summer. Will the State Department also consider revoking their visas?
Well, again, I won't speculate on a decision that's going to be made by our consular services here and the rules that are involved, regardless of what you may think we would do. But I'm not going to project or get ahead of my skis when it comes to speculating on what might occur. All right, and you've had your hand up all day. You will be our last question. I'm sorry, everyone, but I'll be back tomorrow. It'll be fun to do one day right after the next. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I just want to follow up on Syria. You said that Israeli forces intervened to protect the Druze community. But today, an Israeli strike actually struck near the presidential palace in Syria's capital, Damascus, and Israel also targeted Syrian military headquarters in the city. Does the U.S. consider the Syrian presidential palace and the military headquarters as a legitimate military target for Israel? And do you believe that the Syrian government, whose leader, by the way, has met with the President Trump and praised by him, poses a threat to Israel?
Well, obviously, those are not going to be. There's a lot of speculation there. I'm not going to comment on whether or not Israel and how they make their decisions about what it is they feel the need to do. We understand, again, that they intervened to protect the Druze. The steps of what that meant to them, I can't speak to. You could, of course, ask the Israeli government. But we are involved, clearly, in the framework of stopping this and de-escalating. And we will no doubt have more answers as the days go on. And that will be it. That will be it. That's it for today. Thank you, everyone. All right. I'll see you tomorrow. The regular Thursday.
Alrighty, you saw it there. That Department of State briefing. Hold up here, trying to get the right feed. Okay, there we go. Okay, so in just a moment, we're expected to see President Donald Trump hold a event over in the East Room at the White House. Give me 1 second, you guys. Adjusting some things. There we go. Live look at the White House on the right side of your screen as we stand by for this all to get underway. A big talk in this entire briefing that we've been watching is that an American citizen was killed in the West Bank. Unfortunately, I do not have a photo of that just yet. But that was something that was talked about through this. And essentially just saying that they were going to update, trying to get an update. Now, I will note in the I will say Huckabee, Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, now the ambassador to Israel, is now calling for this investigation, entire investigation of this event. I have a political story here. Give me a second here. We will pull it up onto you guys' screens. Just hold for me, hold with me. We'll get there. Alrighty, so this is going to be political reporting from Gregory Cervanosky. You know what? I'm just going to leave it there, and we're gonna read the reporting. But that name, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I wanted to give credit to the reporter who reported this information. Give me 1 second. So this is the news that we heard throughout the entire thing. So I do want to read this political story now. This says, quote, U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee called on the country to probe the killing of a Palestinian American man visiting family in the West Bank. Quote, I have asked Israel to aggressively investigate the murder of Sif Musaleh, an American citizen who was visiting family in Sinjal when he was beaten to death. That's what Huckabee wrote on X. I'll just scroll here. It does say Saif was just 20 years old. The Palestinian Health Ministry said Musalat, a native of Florida, was beaten to death by Israeli settlers on Friday, according to the Associated Press, but an ambulance was blocked from coming to his aid. His father said in an interview with CNN that aired this week, Musalat died before he reached the hospital. Again, Huckabee, the former governor of Arkansas and two-time presidential candidate, is a staunch supporter of Israel. He visited the country more than 100 times. There's Mike Huckabee there, who was the former governor of Arkansas. And he's also ran for president, as that story read, 2 times. So, again, big news here. The American citizen killed in the West Bank, which was a big focus of this entire briefing that we're following. We are also monitoring news that... Give me a second. We are also monitoring the news that President Donald Trump will soon sign bills from the White House. As soon as that comes, you guys know that we will have that ready for you. And give me 1 second. We'll have that ready for you, and we will be able to watch it. But again, the big news there, that American citizen killed in the West Bank. I believe Marco Rubio, who was in the Oval Office earlier today when President Donald Trump had met with, we'll get it here. Let me get the exact name here. Oh, you guys can see my screen. I'm sorry. What is today? July 16th. There we go. Okay. Let's go live out to the White House. Forgot you guys could see my screen. My apologies. So I was just looking at the White House schedule here. With Crown Prince and Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Bahrain. So that is who President Donald Trump met with. Trump to sign bills from the White House here in just a few moments. We are monitoring that all, as it all is to come very soon. And when it does, we'll have a live look at that exact moment, a live look at the White House. As we wait for this all to get underway, we'll bring you live coverage of it. We are going to sneak in a quick break here. You're watching this Brooklyn News special report on our extended coverage of a long and busy news day. I'm Jackson Mitchell. And welcome back to this Brooklyn News special report. This is moments ago in Wet Pittston, Pennsylvania, after J.D. Vance makes a surprise visit to a local diner. That feed there on your screen, according to, is from Forbes. Wait 1 second. from Forbes. This comes after he spoke on taxes there a few moments ago. We were listening in live at the very beginning of our coverage. We had a few issues with that feed, but we did fortunately get it back there. That is a look there from just moments ago in West Pittston after he visits that diner. I believe he walks through it a few moments later. This comes after he made that speech talking about taxes on tips, overtimes, the big beautiful bill that was recently passed there, talking to people there. One man leaning on the counter there as he goes through. I believe we might be able to listen in, maybe hear a few words from him. This is the first time I'm also seeing this video. Let's listen in here.
What grade are you in? Eighth. Going into eighth or just okay, great. You excited about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. How's the food here? Good?
Yeah, really
okay,
good.
that's the right answer. That's the right answer. Hey guys, how we doing? Wait, so the special's hot dogs with everything's on it.
Yep.
Okay.
Or you get a cheeseburger.
We get a cheeseburger.
But
Didn't we get it?
still need ketchup.
Okay. We ordered ahead of time, right? I think so. What do we order? Do you guys have cheesesteak? Okay. That's her. She's a vegetarian. Okay. And a double burger. Okay, got it. Can I get one of those hot dogs with everything on it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. To go, please. Thank you. Great. How you guys doing? Thank you. Nice to meet you all. What's up, man? How you doing? All right. How are you? Good. What's your name? Mike. You playing golf today?
I am, yeah.
You look like it. How about you? You playing with him, Josh?
I am.
Okay, good. How'd you guys play?
We didn't play yet.
You didn't play yet? Okay, good. Where are you guys headed? Foxhill. Okay. Nice. How far away is that?
Right over the river, probably past it.
Okay. All right. I wish I could play golf today. I got a vice president today. Good to see you all. Hey, how are you? Yeah, thanks. Nice to meet you. Angela. Great to meet you, Angela.
Great to meet you.
Hey guys, how we doing? Good. Semper Fi, man. Semper Fi, sir. How are you? Good. Good. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? Very nice to meet you. Thank you. Oh, a Bengals fan. Here we go. How's it going? Good to see you, man. Hey, nice to meet you. Yeah. So we just had an event over there, and I was talking with a buddy of mine. There's a New York Times story saying, "I'm from the Biden administration. Let me tell you how to fix the immigration problem." And a buddy of mine sent it to me and said, "It's like a Cincinnati Bengals player telling you how to win the Super Bowl."
Oh, it's crazy.
It hurt
What's
me.
your
It hurt my
prediction?
feelings.
What's your prediction?
I actually think it's our year, man. I really do. Now I've been saying that for
I know. I got a
36
feeling.
years, ever since I could talk. But hell, Burrow's good. We've made some progress in the line, so I feel pretty good about it.
Me too. We'll see.
Good. We'll see. This is Eagles territory, right?
It is.
Okay.
Certainly.
Yeah. Are you an Eagles guy or an Eagles guy too? Okay.
My grandfather played for
divided
but
table
I'm a
here.
Bengals.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay, that's awesome. What position do you play?
Offensive line.
Yep. What's his name?
Joe Clark.
Joe Clark.
A long
okay.
time ago
Cool,
before they
yeah.
made money, so I don't have anything from it.
You see what athletes make today, and
It's crazy,
you
yeah.
compare it to what they made 50 years ago. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, man, good to meet you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, good luck this year.
Mr. Vice President, remember me?
Hey, of course,
Stacey
Colonel,
Garrity.
right? Good to see you.
So we have a whole group of veterans elect from Vietnam.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Shot down twice.
Oh, God bless you, Joe.
Mr. Vice President.
Nice to see you. Thank you both for your service. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Korean vet and a
Good.
couple Vietnam.
Okay.
This Korean has two Purple Hearts
Oh,
and
that's amazing.
special
Okay.
citations. Joe.
Joe, how are you? Please don't get that. Please. God bless you. I appreciate you. I was
95 years
great.
old.
75. So you were in Korea?
I picked the wrong team.
So where'd you serve?
Hopefully, just want to see one before I
Okay, so you were kind of all over the place.
What's my life will say?
Yeah.
I'm going down to Texas next month. Disney is great.
Oh.
You got the Medal of Honor. You had to save my life.
God bless it.
Medal of Honor, Navy Cross, 2 Purple Hearts. I slept with him in a bunker.
And who is this? This is your
Jackie killed me.
Hazelton. Was it a relative of yours or a friend of yours?
Coal mine.
I was in Yeah, please do.
How are you? How are you? It's really beautiful. It's a big surprise.
Guys, how we doing?
She feels her relaxed. Great. Coming here.
Nice view from here.
Alrighty, so that was JD Vance there. That video there coming to an end. That we got it, though, as he spoke to some supporters there, at a local diner after he made that surprise visit. Again, and just kind of talking to people around there. Pretty much is what he was doing. We are still waiting there as you take a live look at the White House for President Donald Trump to begin his signing event. That is expected to begin pretty soon. So we're waiting on that to occur. I am watching a few other news events that we are going to bring you as soon as they happen. But we are going to sneak in a quick break as we leave you there live at the White House. Give me 1 second. As we leave you there live on the White House, a beautiful place. I actually got to visit it a few weeks ago when I took vacation there in Washington. We are going to sneak in a quick break here. This has been kind of an elongated Brooklyn News special report as we wait for multiple events to occur. We are watching the news as it happens. So many stories this afternoon. We are going to sneak in a quick break, though. You're watching Brooklyn News special report. Welcome back to this elongated edition of a Brooklyn News special report. To see some people holding up photos there. President Donald Trump to sign a bill on fentanyl. So that is likely possibly victims of fentanyl that are being held up there. You see reporters and people in the crowd there taking pictures as this Trump to walk out any moment now. And we will begin watching this all. We are going to change feeds when it does begin though. So we have this feed right here ready to go, and then we'll change feeds once it all actually begins. Simply so we see no interruptions. So we will do that as soon as it begins. As you take a look down the right side of your screen at where this is all expected to get underway. Let me see here. As we've been kind of watching the news all afternoon. Sorry, I'm just checking on different events that are ongoing this afternoon because there is so much occurring. I believe we are going to see the president now with that sound there, possibly. As you see the crowd turning around there.
The President of the United States.
Let's watch here for just a moment.
Well, thank you very much. Please. It's an honor to be with you. We're making a lot of progress in our country, generally too. But this is a very special
Okay,
time
we are going to
because
switch
we've worked
feeds
very
now.
hard
It's
to
going to be a
put
little bit
ourselves in
behind,
this
but we are going to switch feeds
position
now.
today. Well, thank you very much. Please. It's an honor to be with you. We're making a lot of progress in our country, generally too. But this is a very special time because we've worked very hard to put ourselves in this position. Today we strike a righteous blow to the drug dealers, narcotic traffickers, and criminal cartels that we've all been hearing so much about for so many years, and very little has been done. And we take a historic step toward justice for every family touched by the fentanyl scourge as we sign the Halt Fentanyl Act into law. Good job. Good job. Well done. Well done. Thank you very much. With this bill, we are officially and permanently classifying all fentanyl-related substances as Schedule I narcotics, which is actually a very big deal. It doesn't sound like much. It's a big deal, as they will tell you, meaning anyone caught trafficking these illicit poisons will be punished with a mandatory 10-year minimum sentence in prison. We'll be getting the drug dealers, pushers, and peddlers off our street. And we will not rest until we have ended the drug overdose epidemic. And it's been getting a little bit better, but it's horrible. It's horrible. We're going to end it once and for all. And we're pleased to be joined on this occasion by my future DEA administrator. He's going to be a very important position, Terry Cole. Where's Terry Cole? Hello, Terry Cole. I hope you're as good as they say, Terry. I hope you're as good as Glenn Youngkin says, because it was his recommendation that got you this job. You better do a good job, or I'm blaming Glenn. Glenn, I'm going to blame you if he's no good. And who the hell knows, but I have a feeling he's going to be great. Is he that good? All right, good. You better be good. But it was really, Glenn has had tremendous experience with Terry, and he said he's fantastic. He did the job like nobody that you've seen, and we take your word for it. Thank you very much, Glenn. Also with us is Secretary Kristi Noem, who's doing a fantastic job. Where's Kristi? Where are you? Kristi. Hi, Kristi. She is doing a great job with Tom Homan, who's fantastic. He's also central casting. He does serve the central casting role, too, doesn't he? And he's a great guy. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Steve, thank you very much. Thank you. Good job. And we have some good news on Gaza and good news on a couple of things that we're working on at a very high level. But you've done a fantastic job. Thank you very much. My nominee to lead the Office of National Drug Control Policy, Sarah Carter. Sarah, great reporter, too. She was a very tough and good reporter, and you've done a fantastic job. So now you'll be able to put all that experience to work. No more criticizing or anything else. You got to do it yourself, and you're going to do a great job, you know, as reporters do on occasion. Thank you very much. Thanks, Sarah. Good luck. Governors Glenn Youngkin, Jeff Landry, and Kelly Armstrong, where are you? Stand up. Great. Hi, fellas. Hi. How are you? And great friends of ours, Senators Chuck Grassley. Chuck, fantastic. You look fantastic. Looks like he's 44 years old. You look great, Chuck. We're proud of you. Jim Banks. Jim. Thank you, Jim. Good job. Good job. Ron Johnson. Ron, good. We've got that bill passed, Ron. We got it passed. Thank you for all your help, too. Ashley Moody. Ashley, thank you very much. Jim Risch. Thank you, Jim. And you're doing a great job on the committees, and you're getting them through, the people that we need, right? I appreciate it, Jim, very much. I urge him, like, Jim, you got to get going. No, Jim's been fantastic. Bill Cassidy. Thank you, Bill, very much. Thank you very much. And Roger Marshall. Roger, thank you. And by the way, I have to say, John Thune called. He said, can you get my senators back? We're taking a vote, so we're going to go as quickly as you can. And if you feel like the urge, just get out. And we got to get all these bills signed, a lot of them related to what we're doing. So don't have the urge to stay. I won't be insulted if you walk out. But he just called. He said, could you get him back as soon as possible? Representatives Morgan Griffin, Brett Guthrie, Andy Biggs, Andy Barr, Buddy Carter, Addison McDowell, Troy Balderson. Hi, Troy. Randy Feenstra. Thank you, Randy. Scott Franklin, Tony Gonzalez, John Joyce, Dan Muser, Mike Carey, Scott Fitzgerald, Diana Harshbarger, Bob Latta. That's a good group of people. Hal Rogers, Mike Rowley, and Nick Langworthy. Thank you. We've got a lot of great people. That's a lot of political talent we have, a lot of political talent. Thank you very much. Thanks as well to State Attorneys General Brenna Bird. Thank you, Brenna, wherever you may be, because, you know, Brenna, she was the first one in that state to endorse Trump. Thank you very much. I don't forget those things, even though this is non-political today, okay? Alan Wilson, Chris Carr, and Marty Jackley. Thank you all very much. Thank you. So 6 months ago, we came into office and inherited the worst drug crisis in American history by far. They did nothing. For 4 long years, Joe Biden surrendered our borders to the most evil and vicious traffickers, networks, and everything else on the planet Earth, allowing foreign drug cartels to carve out a massive footprint on American soil. We were doing nothing. This open borders nightmare flooded our country with fentanyl and with people that shouldn't be here, some of the worst people on earth, and illicit drugs decimated American communities and left us with the largest law enforcement challenge in our country's history, and hopefully will always be the largest. I can't imagine anything being worse. They allowed millions and millions of criminals into our country, 11,888 murders, 50% of whom murdered more than one person. On day one of the Trump administration, we declared an all-out war on the dealers, smugglers, traffickers, and cartels. Within moments of taking office, I deployed the U.S. military to our border and unleashed the patriots of ICE and Border Patrol to defend our country from an invasion. This was an invasion. This wasn't people coming in. This was an invasion of our country, allowed to happen by people either that didn't care or were just stupid people. Stupid people. I also designated the Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And within a few short weeks, believe it or not, if you remember, now we've even surpassed that, but we achieved the most secure border in U.S. history. And last month, we had the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. We had in June, the number was actually 0. Now, even I don't believe that, but we're going to take it. How can you go from hundreds of thousands to 0? But that's what they say. And these are very liberal people that do the recording, so I think we're going to have to take it. But the number was 0 in June. Can't get much better than that, right? On day one, I signed executive orders to create new Homeland Security task forces, marshaling the full power of federal law enforcement to eradicate transnational criminal networks and traffickers from our soil. We wanted them out. 2 weeks ago, we secured the resources necessary to achieve that mission when I signed the One Big Beautiful Bill into law. And I want to thank you all. I want to thank you. I want to thank you all. You did a great job. And you could go point after point how good it is. You know, they have just a hit against that. It's one of the biggest tax cuts in history, really the biggest everything in history. We have things in terms of security, in terms of securing our country, taking care of our police officers, law enforcement, our ICE and Border Patrol, patriots. I call them patriots because that's what they are. These are strong people, tough people that love our country. If they weren't tough, they wouldn't survive. But we do more for the country in that bill, I think, than just about any bill that's been passed. And we're going to have to start speaking about it because the Democrats use it. They say it represents death. How effective is that, right? That's pretty good. It represents that. That's all they have. They only have lies. It's the only thing they have. They don't have policy. They can't get people elected. They don't have good candidates. They don't have anything, but they do have two things. They stick together. They stick together like glue, and they always come up with a good little tagline. This tagline is death. And the death is them. We're the ones that are giving life. We're giving life with that bill, and there's so many good things, whether it's no tax on tips. Think of that. No tax on Social Security. No tax on overtime. If you buy a car, you want to buy a car, you get a deduction of interest on your mortgage. So think of that. Things that were never even a possibility. And then so much else in terms of health, in terms of providing care. It's really just a fantastic bill. And it's about time that we're going to start, and we'll start talking about it. But once we do, I think we're going to have the greatest midterm that you've ever seen, because this thing really is amazing. And I want to thank all of the senators in particular for getting it done, It also makes the largest investment in the U.S. Coast Guard since World War II, ensuring that we have assets and all of the assets needed to vanquish the cartels from the waterways of North America. We're building a lot of Coast Guard ships that go very speedily along the water, and they're very lethal. They're very powerful, and that's what we need, because a lot of it comes in as we block up the border. They start using the water. That's a good run. I could use that. They block up the border. We start using the water. And that's what happens. They start using the water. Who would think? They even actually developed small submarines. You saw that, right? Small submarines to get the drugs in. And it's incredible. But we've stopped them. I've also directed the Department of Justice to seek maximum sentences for fentanyl traffickers. We're going to absolutely do the maximum. Since my inauguration, the DOJ has seized over 4,500 pounds of fentanyl, which is a record, including with the enormous Sinaloa cartel bust in May, one of the toughest cartels out there, the largest fentanyl bust ever in United States history. And now with the signing of the HALT Fentanyl Act, in just a few moments, we are delivering another defeat for the savage drug smugglers and criminals and the cartels who have a tremendous amount to say about Mexico. If you want to be nice about it, I'm trying to be nice about it. They have very strong controls over Mexico, and we have to do something about that. Can't let that happen. The Mexican authorities are petrified. They're petrified to show up at their office. They're petrified to go to work because the cartels have a tremendous grip on Mexico and the politicians and the people that get elected. For years, the monsters who manufacture illicit fentanyl have sought to skirt legal restrictions by making minor variations of the chemical compound, and in the process, they've developed even more toxic versions of the drug. One common variant, known as carfentanil, it's becoming more and more common. It's 100 times more potent than the original version of fentanyl. Can you imagine? Look at what you have to suffer with the original. I mean, this is 100 times more potent, and it's happening stronger, more and more dangerous. And as you know, and I have a very good relationship with President Xi of China, but I imposed a 20% tariff on China because of the fentanyl, and I call it a penalty. It's a penalty because China delivers much of the fentanyl. Some people would say all of it. They deliver it into Mexico and even into our own country. We have a 20%, so they pay billions of dollars in damages for what they've done. And I think we're going to work it out so that China is going to end up going from that to giving the death penalty to the people that create this fentanyl and send it into our country, whether it's through other countries or directly. I believe that we would have had that deal a long time ago. I shook hands with them, and then we had a rigged election, and we had somebody else come in, and they didn't know anything about a deal for the death penalty. The death penalty is going to be imposed on people from China that make fentanyl and send it into our country. I believe that's going to happen soon. But as of today, all fentanyl-related substances will be banned forever, and those who traffic in these deadly poisons will be put behind bars for a very long period of time. We're joined today by just a few of the millions of families ravaged by this scourge, including Greg Swan from Michigan, who carries with him the heartbreaking loss of his beautiful son, Drew. Drew became addicted to opioids after being prescribed painkillers following a sports injury. Got injured, and this is happening so much. Got injured in sports and ends up, you leave the hospital a week later and you're addicted. But he fought through it and got himself clean. Then one day, Drew took a pill laced with fentanyl. He took it just casually, thought it would be okay. Took a chance, and he thought it'd be okay, and it didn't work out. And he tragically lost his life. And Greg, I'd like you to come forward, and if you could just say a few words about your wonderful, wonderful son, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Honor of my life.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I will be brief. It's the honor of my life to be here, and Drew was the happiest day of my life was when he was born, and he always called me his hero to the day he died. And his passing ruined, I thought, my life, and every parent back here that I meet and in the audience, some of my friends, their life is gutted when they lose a kid. There's despair and there's hopelessness. But we've been able to find some repose in going out and advocating. And we want to hit every school in America. There's 26,727 of them. We want to go into every one. The kids are silent when they hear we lost somebody to this, and we tell our story, and they leave unequivocally ready to run away from fentanyl. I would just like to say thank you, Mr. President, for stopping the border crossings. Full stop, mic drop. I'll step back but it was amazing what you did. We were being gaslit, and you came and lit a fire to that story, and we're a lot safer for it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
That's tough stuff. We're also grateful to be joined by California native Ann Fundner, who lost her beautiful eldest son, Weston, to fentanyl when he was just 15 years old, exactly 1 year ago today. Ann delivered a moving tribute to Weston at the Republican National Convention. People that saw it have not forgotten it. And Ann, I'd like you to please come up and say a few words about your wonderful boy. Thank you. Please.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and distinguished guests. My name is Ann Fundner.
Come here. I'm going to hold.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I'm an angel parent. 1 year ago today, on July 16th, I stood in front of America and told the story of my son, Weston, at the RNC. And about how he was a beautiful, loving, had a wonderful life. We did everything right. But one pill, one mistake, given by a friend under peer pressure, took his life. In the last 4 years, fentanyl became the #1 killer of Americans, ages 15 to 48. And children under 14 are the fastest growing demographic. President Trump, for 4 years, we felt ignored. But you've changed that, and we appreciate that so much. You've closed the borders, sanctioned cartels, imposed tariffs, closed shipping loopholes. Most people don't know about that. That was a big one. Dealt with countries where it's coming from. You mobilized Treasury, Justice Department, Homeland Security, lawmakers, legislators, and today the signing of the Halt Fentanyl Act, bipartisan and overwhelmingly supported by everybody, making fentanyl a Schedule I drug to strengthen the criminalization and prosecution of people who peddle this. It is a lifeline for families across America and keeping our families safe. And that's all you always want, to keep America safe. And thank you so much. Thank you for keeping America safe and for our children. And this is what we voted for, Mr. President. God bless you. God bless our angel families who are all here with us today, and all of you sitting up here with us. And God bless America. Thank you so much. You can have that. Would you like that? I would love to give that to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's just crazy that we have to even be doing this. It's so sad. It should be so unnecessary that we stand here for years and years doing the same thing over and over. It's terrible. A friend of mine, a longtime friend of mine, is Jackie Siegel, and her beautiful children, her husband, David, just passed away. David Siegel was a great developer, great developer, great guy, a friend of mine. But her children, Jordan, Jacqueline, and Drew, come from Florida. Jackie lost her beautiful daughter, Victoria, to drugs when Victoria was just 18 years old, a beautiful person. And this April, Jackie lost her sister, Jessica, to fentanyl. In her daughter's honor, Jackie founded Victoria's Voice. And I'd like to ask Jackie to come up and say a few words about her daughter, her husband, her family. She's comes from a great family, and they've been fighting this scourge for a long time. Thank you very much, Jackie.
Mr. President, it's an honor to be here today on behalf of our family, my late husband, and all of the other affected families for this important signing on this bipartisan issue. 10 years ago, when our daughter, 18 years old, passed, Victoria, she was 18, she passed away of a drug overdose. We formed the Victoria's Voice Foundation, and the Trump administration was very helpful in passing the CARA Act, which saved many lives back then, bringing out the Narcan. And we're so honored. Well, actually, when my husband passed away, thank you for the phone call and your love and support. Our family loves you, Mr. President. That day, when my sister found out of my husband's passing, she did a line of cocaine that she thought was cocaine, and it was fentanyl. So I lost both of them in the same day. And it's been a very rough time. But it's turned me into more of a fighter to carry on my husband's legacy and the other families' legacies of saving lives. And so I'm turning my pain into passion. And also, on top of this, with the signing of this important the act that you're doing, we are joining with Victoria's Voice is joining with founding fathers, and we're going to start the Angel Army. So we're even growing even more under this Trump administration. Okay. And we're going to spend the rest of our lives doing this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
Very effective. That army will be very effective, knowing Jackie. So thank you very much, Jackie. Everyone knows someone touched by the incredible crisis that we've all been watching all over the world. They're watching it. Other countries have the problem. But I don't think there are too many that have it more seriously than us. They come here, they rip us. They rip us so badly, the cartels and all of the others, because we're sort of a rich country, and that's where the money is. So it happens. People say, why is it so much? Because we have money. We're richer than other countries, so they come here more. They take the money like taking candy from a baby. So today, on behalf of all Americans who have lost a loved one to opioids, we renew our vow to liberate America from this horrible plague, and I hope you're going to do a fantastic job. You have no idea how important you are. You have like maybe the most important job just about in government. There's nothing more important than what you're doing, so I wish you a lot of luck, and we'll be there to help you all the way along, okay? Once again, I want to thank Congress for passing this important bill and for all the work you've done over the last 2 weeks, all of you. What a job you've all done. And it was the congressmen and women and the Senate has been unbelievable. And I'd like to ask, if you want, stand right up here while I sign the bill, and then we're going to get you right back so you can keep passing other bills and make America great again, right? Okay, thank you very much. It's great to have you. I'm doing good, Chuck. Okay, we all set? I feel very, very protected in here, Jim.
Yeah,
very
closer and
protected.
closer. We want to make sure it's signed.
People behind you.
And this is not an auto pen, right? That's for sure. That's great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President.
pass them out. We'll give some to the back too.
Sorry about that. Alrighty, so you have just watched President Donald Trump sign the Halt Fentanyl Act. You've seen some emotional tributes, mother, fathers, someone related to a victim of fentanyl. It's so sad to just hear their voices and hear what they have gone through and hear how this has affected so many people. This act now set to go into effect. I believe it makes. Give me just a moment here. I gotta just make sure that the information that I am passing along is 100% correct. Ooh, wrong button. So inside the Halt Fentanyl Act, it would, it's loading right now, permanently schedules fentanyl-related substance as Schedule 1 under the Controlled Substances Act, and it says previously they were classified. Oh, I'm experiencing some technical difficulties. I was trying to read that there. Noting that it was previously scheduled as something different. My apologies, my computer, I actually couldn't show you guys this. Oh, this is what it's doing. So that, not very helpful at all. Anyways, so, now permanently, it will be a Scheduled 1 substance. We are going to conclude this special report, though, as you've just watched live from the White House. President Donald Trump signing the Halt Fentanyl Act. We will leave you on a look at the White House, says that will conclude this Brooklyn News special report you've been watching throughout the last little bit here. 2 hours and 9 minutes. We've been live for a moment now, watching this all ongoing, and a number of events starting with Vice President J.D. Vance, moving on to Secretary Duffy testifying over this Department of Transportation's budget, and so many other events. That will conclude this Brooklyn News special report.